in Miami, the sun is still out. And the roof, she is wide open. For baseball tonight, a 3-game series. The Cincinnati Reds are hot. They've won 7 of their last 9. The Marlins starting this homestand, trying to get it together, trying to keep Joey Votto off base. It's Fish, it's Reds, and it all starts tonight. A little windy in the ballpark right now, but it feels good to be back home. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a night of baseball. For the Marlins, nice to be home, and they run smack dab into a team that's hot in the Reds.
It's a pretty good homestand, Rich, when you think about it. Some good ball clubs coming in, starting with Cincinnati. And the Marlins have already seen the Reds, that 4-game series at Great American Ballpark. They were 1-3.
Red is the operational number and color. Look at this. The Reds, the Diamondbacks, that's Sedona red, and then you got the Phillies coming in to finish.
Well, we know a little bit about the Cincinnati Reds. Have not seen the Arizona Diamondbacks this year, but you can see they're playing good baseball in that Western Division, trying to stay near the top. And the Philadelphia Phillies, you always know about the Phillies. Remember, the Marlins started this past long road trip with 4 games in Philly and ended up winning the last 2.
Starting the homestand and this series is Ricky Nolasco. Doesn't get a lot of run support. In fact, he didn't get any run support his last time out in San Diego, but he was splendid out on the coast.
He was tremendous. That game in San Diego, he should have won. He gave up just 1 run to the Padres in that afternoon ball game. He had 9 strikeouts. He had it all going. He had the good breaking ball, some change-ups. He locked up some right-handed hitters, and he spotted his fastball really well. All you can do if you're a starting pitcher, you can't score a lot of runs. You just need to pitch, and hopefully he pitches the same. Homer Bailey, the Marlins saw in that series in Cincinnati.
And he doesn't get a lot of runs scored on his behalf. There's your Coventry Healthcare starting pitchers for tonight. Bailey, Nolasco, Miami, Cincinnati. Derek Dietrich live with Allison Williams when we return. For his start, Marlins and Reds. Let's head out to center field. Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine.
Thank you very much, Rich. It's going to be tough to top last week for Derek Dietrich, his Major League debut. He winds up at a homer in the week, the family out, but tonight's going to be special for him. It's his home debut.
Yeah, first home opener for Derek Dietrich. We acquired Derek Dietrich in the offseason from Tampa Bay. A high-energy type guy, good power for a second baseman, playing some good defense. He couldn't be more happy. I talked to him earlier, and this guy is on cloud nine.
We're going to talk to him right now. Allison Williams standing by with Derek.
Thank you very much, guys. Derek, we talked last week when you made your debut. There's going to be a lot of firsts coming up. Tonight, your first home game for the Marlins. What are you most looking forward to?
Just getting out there and playing hard for these fans and having a good time and hopefully playing for a W.
Tonight, batting third in the lineup. How do you feel about the position in the lineup tonight?
I'm going to hit wherever they tell me to hit. I'm going to go up there, compete in every at-bat like I do, and hopefully get the job done.
Derek, thank you so much.
Thank you. Go Marlins.
Guys, back up to you.
All right, thank you, Allison. We'll be talking prospects all night. And again, what's that spot? Hashtag prospects, right?
What'd you call it earlier? The number sign?
Number sign, pound sign.
Pound sign.
Either way, it'll get there.
Hashtag.
Hashtag prospects on an email, Twitter, Tuesday. Niner will be tweeting. Perhaps we'll look for your tweets as well. We'll have the post-game break back here with Niner. As the Marlins look for a victory, Game 1 of this homestand coming up against the powerful Cincinnati Reds.
By Toyota. Let's go places. By AT&T Uverse TV. Check availability at 1-800-PICK AT&T. Rethink possible. By Just for Men Auto Stop, the foolproof way to get rid of gray. And by Checkers. Feast on. Gorgeous evening here in Miami. Ricky Nolasco takes the hill as the Marlins and the Reds open up a 3-game series. And for the Fish, they open up a 9-game homestand with the Reds, the Diamondbacks, and the Phillies. The Cincinnati Reds are hot. They've won 3 in a row and 7 of 9. The Reds come in at 22-16. Shin-Soo Choo is having a terrific year in the leadoff spot. Zach Cozart hits second. Joey Votto, you know about him. Brandon Phillips is cleaning up with 31 RBIs, tied for the National League lead. Xavier Paul is in left field. Todd Frazier at third base. Donald Lutz is out in right field. Ryan Hannigan will do the catching, and Homer Bailey is on the mound. Lutz is in there for Chris Heisey, who is on the disabled list. And so Ricky Nolasco takes the ball against the Reds.
Well, we've talked a little bit, Rich, about that last outing for Ricky, the 1-0 loss in San Diego. Boy, did he pitch well. 7 innings, gave up just 4 hits and the only run, and had 9 strikeouts. Jason Marquis a little bit better, 8 innings, 5 hits, no runs in that game. Ricky's had some pretty good numbers in his career against the Reds, 3-1 in 9 career starts. That one loss, the last time he lost to the Reds, was September 28th of 2006. So it's been a while.
Chu getting ready to come to the plate. This is the defense that will be behind Ricky Nolasco tonight. The official lineup this way. It's brought to you by the Cleveland Clinic, Florida.
And there you have it. With the roof open, it's Juan Pierre and Ruggiano and Marcelo Zuna, Polanco Echeverria, Derek Dietrich at second base, Greg Dobbs, the first baseman, and Rob Brantley will handle Ricky Nolasco.
9th time that the roof has been open already this year. Last year, 8 times. The Marlins have yet to win a game with the roof open, Tommy Hutton. Believe it or not.
Tonight's the start of a new homestand.
There you go. Pinch-A-Penny's first pitch. And Ricky gets a strike. Shin-Soo Choo, a terrific year. Not only is he hitting .309 with 7 homers, his on-base percentage at .451, .547 slugging percentage. You get that out of your leadoff man, and you've got something. Breaking ball just misses inside. C.B. Buckner's calling balls and strikes. Todd Titchener at first. Dale Scott out at second. Bill Miller at third. As you heard Jeff Conine say on Marlins Live, the ball really jumping in batting practice. And Nolasco bounces one up there. Chu, the 30-year-old Korean who really emerged with the Cleveland Indians. He came up in the Seattle organization and then spent 7 years in the Indians organization. And he blossomed in Cleveland. He has blown up in Cincinnati.
Well, there are a couple of things that you really have to be careful of. Number one, you talked about the on-base percentage. Part of that's because he's been hit 11 times. He had an incredible series against the Marlins in Cincinnati. He was 8 for 14.
Smokes a ground ball to first. Greg Dobbs flips. Nolasco is over to step on the bag. So that's a good start to retire Chu here in the first inning.
Good job by Ricky. Got over there quickly, made it an easy play for Dobbs.
It is a social media Tuesday, Twitter Tuesday, email Tuesday. If you want to do it through email, go to foxsportsflorida.com, click on Game Connect, and ask the broadcast. If you headed to Twitter at Fox Marlins. Prospects, one of the topics. You can hashtag prospects if you'd like, or you can go without a hashtag, which Tommy and I often do.
Especially on a long road trip.
That's right. You lose your hashtag right around Albuquerque.
And by the way, we will have Marlins general manager Michael Hill with us in the 4th inning, so save up some tweets or emails about some of those prospects.
Nolasco, fastball. It's pulled foul. Did you see Bill Miller, the third base umpire, making the call and leaping over the ball at the same time? Now that's athleticism.
I'm not so sure Bill Miller, the former infielder, would have reacted this fast. That's a great job by Bill Miller to make the call and to get out of the way.
Cozart takes outside. This is one Reds hitter near the top of the lineup that's not having the best of offensive seasons. Cozart very solid defensively. The 27-year-old. Second-round pick out of Ole Miss. So he and Chris Coughlin know each other quite well. They were on the same side of the infield as Rebels.
Yes, they were. Cozart at short, Coughlin at third.
Counts 3-1. Over the head of Polanco. Pierre over to get it. Cozart around first, and he's going to get to second. So the Reds have a double, and that'll bring Votto up with Brandon Phillips right behind him.
You have some guys with pretty good speed. Cozart is one of those. Got out of the box quickly, knowing that Juan Pierre's throwing arm is below average. He never hesitated around first base. Never hesitated. He knew he was going to second base all the way.
For Cozart, his 5th double of the season. And now here's Votto. Votto having his typical year as far as getting on base. Not so typical in terms of home runs. Just 4 homers and only 15 runs driven in. Of course, last year Votto was hurt. He had a couple of knee surgeries and ended up in only 111 games. Still, he had 44 doubles in 111 games and 14 home runs. Not a lot of power in the second half without a lot of leg strength.
He already has 8 doubles and a triple this year. And along with Shin-Soo Choo, Joey Votto tore up the Marlins in that series at Great American Ballpark. He had 8 hits, 8 for 17, a couple of them home runs.
What pays off for the Reds with Votto's patience and the fact that he hasn't driven in a lot of runs is the guy behind him has been really clicking in Brandon Phillips. 31 RBI. So if Votto walks and doesn't drive him in, Phillips usually does.
That's exactly why that Brandon Phillips and Tulowitzki and Paul Goldschmidt are tied for the league lead in RBIs.
Paul Goldschmidt will be here with the Diamondbacks. He's a lot of fun to watch. Breaking ball strike, big guy that wrecked the Dodgers just before the Marlins got to Los Angeles. 2-2. Velasco facing Votto. Now Ricky in his career against the Reds is 3-1, but the ERA is over 5. Votto himself 6 for 20 with 2 homers. He has one of the very best eyes as far as strike zone recognition in all of baseball.
Now they're making Ricky throw a lot of pitches. He's had a 3-ball count to each of the first 3 hitters.
Votto clubs one center field. Ruggiano on a hop. Late start at second by Cozart, and he'll be held there. Marlins got a break. Cozart didn't read that all that cleanly away from second. And so Votto ends up at first base. Cozart is at third, and here comes Phillips.
And I think you're right about that, Rich. If you're the runner, you got to have a little better read on that ball if you know where the center fielder's playing. Ruggiano shading a little bit to left center, pretty much straight away and deep. So Cozart didn't pick that up and only could make it to third.
It's amazing how a hitter over the course of his career can evolve as a hitter and in the order. Brandon Phillips, when he first got to Cincinnati from Cleveland, was a top of the order guy. Speed, put the ball in play. Now here he is, a cleanup hitter and tied for the National League lead in RBIs.
Yeah, and a little different type. We talked about Chu and we talked about Votto and their ability to draw walks and get on base. Phillips has walked just 10 times and on base percentage about 320.
9 doubles, 6 homers for the 31-year-old who signed a nice contract last year through 2017. Check swing, the ask, and the reply. Todd Titchener says no swing.
You know, one of the oddities of Ricky Nolasco this year, in innings 1 through 3, his ERA is about 4.5. Then he gets better. After the 3rd inning, his ERA goes to 2.96 the rest of the way.
Well, it's a little bumpy ride right now. He's looking for a ground ball with 1 out. Votto has stolen 1 base this year. Breaking ball misses, and it's 2-1. And as you can see, up in the left-hand side of your screen. 20 pitches already. And the breakdown for Nolasco, not that pretty right now. 11 balls, just 9 strikes. Ricky ready. And his 2-1. Little check swing tapper foul, so Nolasco has the second strike at 2-2. The Reds just swept the Brewers. And all told, they've won 7 of 9, and that's propelled them to 2.5 back in the Central. But it's put Dusty Baker's team, and this may be the earliest mention ever of it, it's put them in the first wild card position. How's that?
That's an early mention.
It is an early mention. Nolasco ready. Reds at the corners with 1 out. Brantley has to smother it. Counts 3-2. Be interesting to see now if Dusty Baker puts Votto in motion.
You know, we talked about Brandon Phillips and the 10 walks. He struck out 26 times. That's okay. I would imagine Votto will be on the move. He's not a base stealer, but that puts a little pressure on Phillips to make contact.
Echeverria and Dietrich up the middle are playing for 2, and Polanco's deep at third as well. Let's see if Votto runs. He's going on the 3-2 pitch. Ground ball into left field, a base hit, and the Reds are on the board. 3 consecutive hits. Cozart a double, Votto and Phillips with singles. And this is, we were talking how the Reds score runs, and this is a perfect example of it. Votto didn't drive in the runs, but he put them in the spot, and Phillips picks up RBI number 32.
They give credit to Phillips, a 3-2 slider, and he found that hole on the left side. So that's why he's piled up so many RBIs. So now temporarily he leads the National League in that department.
That subject to change as the night goes on, depending on how Misters Tulowitzki and Goldschmidt fare tonight, or if John Buck or Anthony Rizzo, who just signed a nice contract with the Cubs, if those guys are 4th and 5th right now. There's a strike to Xavier Paul. Paul is in left field. We just saw Paul's former team, the Los Angeles Dodgers. He came up in the Dodger organization. Swing and a miss. 55 games with the Reds last year. Actually played well with the Reds last year. Hit .314 in those 55 games. Slidell, Louisiana. That's one of the hometowns claimed by Logan Morrison. And Lomo continues his rehab, and things, all reports are, things are going well.
Yeah, for all you Lomo fans, the reports we got today is that he was in the field for the first time, 7 innings at first base. He's been driving the ball. He hit another home run, and it feels good swinging. So I would imagine a few more extended games, and then you'll see him at Jupiter for the Hammerheads, and then up to Double-A.
1-2 to Paul. And did Brantley hold it? He did. And so Paul strikes out, and Nolasco has the second out, but he has to get Todd Frazier to finish off the inning.
Good strikeout to get. Ricky goes with that split changeup. Had some nice downward movement, taking it away from Paul and got him to chase it. The guy he has to deal with now, average is down, but Frazier's been driving in lots of runs, but most of them have been at home. All of his home runs have been hit at Great American Ballpark.
Breaking ball from Nolasco, a strike to Frazier. Donald Lutz is on deck. It is an email night. We've been just on the edge of throwing out the first email, but the Reds won't cooperate as they've kept this inning going. 3 hits and a run. That one foul back to the screen. Prospects certainly the topic tonight. Michael Hill can answer a lot of those questions, but injuries too. There's a lot of tweets and a lot of emails already that have thrown out questions about Giancarlo Stanton's status. We just talked about Logan Morrison, Nathan Eovaldi as well. We'll get the answers from Michael Hill. 0-2. Got him. Nolasco, a long inning. And Ricky on 30 pitches gives up just the 1 run. Nice shirts. Marlins line up as the Fish try to get some runs tonight. Juan Pierre leads it off. Placido Polanco hits second. The Kids are all right, and they're hitting third and fourth with Derek Dietrich, Marcell Ozuna, Justin Ruggiano, Greg Dobbs, Danny Echeverria, Rob Brantley, and Ricky Nolasco for the Marlins tonight against Homer Bailey.
See the numbers on Homer Bailey. Good ERA, but we've talked about the fact that he hasn't received a lot of run support either. Real easy delivery. He can get sneaky on you.
Bailey faced Miami in the final game of that 4-game set in Cincinnati. The Reds won 3 of the 4. Bailey pitched well. He didn't get the win, though, as Pierre leads it off. Bailey went 6, gave up 2 runs, and struck out 8. Pulls a ground ball, and it's fair, and off to the races goes Pierre. Donald Lutz picks it up and right, and Pierre pulls in with a double. So JP has doubled. Polanco comes up now.
That's a good way to start things, and we've talked about this during the course of the year. When we were in Los Angeles, our top crack staff performer out there, Aaron Charlton, gave us a great number. The Marlins have had now 21 leadoff doubles. The previous 20 leadoff doubles, only 7 have scored. That's the lowest percentage in the league. Let's see what they can do with this one tonight.
Polanco, and then you've got the Kids, Dietrich and Ozuna. High praise for the West Coast crack staff. Polanco trying to shoot it to the right side, and he fouls it off. In fact, our opening email has to do with the crack staff. Stacy in Wellington. With such a young team, can you have the crack staff do some calculating and tell us which teams have the youngest average age in Major League Baseball?
That's a good question.
We're on it, and that's a good opener for a Twitter and an email Tuesday. Here at second, Bailey to the plate, and he's pounding Polanco in.
Going to put that leadoff double percentage in perspective. The Marlins at 35% with those 7 runs, only 7 scoring. The Major League average is 59%.
Bailey ready. And Polanco gets the job done. Votto thought about it. That's a terrific read by Juan Pierre at second base, because off the bat, you weren't sure if Votto was going to be able to get there and make the catch, but Pierre, with all his baseball experience, read it well.
Yeah, because for a moment you thought maybe that ball was going to go up to second. But Juan Pierre, with his knowledge, he gets a good jump. It's a terrific play by Votto and also by Bailey to get over there. And let's not forget Placido Polanco. He took a pitch that was way inside, and even the pitch he fouled off, you knew he was trying to hit the ball the other way, and he got the job done.
Allison's live guest right before the ball game. Derek Dietrich stands in, and the infield's in, and Bailey goes from the windup, and he runs one in. Now, Derek Dietrich, of course, his first week in the big leagues, his first day in San Diego, a hit into Dodger Stadium, first big league home run. And tonight, he's in a spot with a runner at third and one out.
Got his first big league double at Dodger Stadium. And, you know, obviously this is a major league game. It's the first game he's played here, but in Jacksonville, third was where he hit for the most part in the lineup.
Counts 1-1. Reds have the infield in. Dietrich, a broken bat single into left field, and a base hit and an RBI, and Miami has tied the game.
You change percentages sometimes when you change players. So a great AB, a nice swing by Derek Dietrich.
Let's hope that DirecTV was able to get to the Dietrich house in time in Cleveland, because Mom and Dad were getting the extra innings package all hooked up and hopeful to have it up and running for tonight's game.
Boy, that's a nice swing. Very solid, very compact. Yeah, you hope they got all the cables plugged into the right place.
Just in time for that. Now here's Ozuna. Michael tweets, with Dietrich and Ozuna batting third and fourth, how many times have rookies batted third and fourth in the same game?
Now, we could probably go back to 2006 and give you a combo like that, perhaps.
Maybe an Ugla and a Jacobs or a Willingham in there. Here's the 0-1.
Or a Hanley.
That's right. Although Hanley was in the leadoff spot.
Yeah, he had leadoff back then, yeah. I'm sure it's been done, you know, more than we think. But it's nice to see.
The amazing thing is that you've got two rookies who were just getting their feet wet in Double-A, especially Ozuna, who played just 10 games above the Single-A level before he got called up. And he chops one towards short. Cozart Phillips with a quick turn. Safe. Ozuna gets down the line quickly and beats it.
When you watch Marcell Ozuna run, he runs with ease. Sometimes it doesn't look like he is getting up the line as quickly as he really does. Phillips with a nice turn, but Ozuna beat the relay throw and is able to keep the inning alive.
Now Ruggiano. Ruggiano had a nice road trip in terms of power, pumping his home run total up to 7. And he stands in here with Ozuna at first base. Ozuna has shown speed, Tommy, but we really haven't seen him try to steal a base yet.
Having not seen him that much, you look to see if he's going to be a guy who is a base stealer, maybe give you 20 or 25 steals. There he goes.
There he goes. The throw is waiting on him. Quick. He missed it. Phillips with a quick tag. Started towards the dugout. And it looks like he flat out missed him. Now he can plead his case with Dale Scott, who's a veteran umpire. And we'll take a peek at the replay.
The throw beat him. And the tag, that's close.
Yeah, because the tag doesn't hit him, it looks like, until the pop-up portion.
But may have gotten him on the knee there. Hard to tell. Usually you see the out call when it's that close.
Stolen base for Ozuna, his first in the big leagues.
The one thing we do know about Ozuna, Rich, in watching him, is that he can run the bases. We haven't learned yet if he can be a consistent base stealer, but he knows how to run the bases.
I think in 2.5, 3 weeks, we've learned he is a very smart baseball player. You talk to Tino Martinez, you talk to Joe Espada, who works with the outfielders, Tino, of course, the hitting coach. They will tell you he's been very impressive with the adjustments he's made both at the plate and in right field to start his big league career. Marlins have a run, and Ruggiano swings and misses. Bailey with a sharp breaking ball. 1-2. Bailey checks. Ruggiano lays off this one. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. So you've got 2 pitchers here, Homer Bailey and Ricky Nolasco, who are in the bottom 7 for run support in the National League. Neither pitcher gets much help at all. And yet both pitchers have received, at this point, 1 run each. It's like they're rationing runs. 1 for you, 1 for you. Go get him.
Well, right there, it has to make Ricky feel better. All of a sudden, he struggled through 30 pitches in the first inning. And his ball club has gotten him a run. They're right back in the game.
Let's see what Ruggiano gets here. 3-2. Bailey has fed him a steady diet of breaking balls in the at-bat. He got a fastball right down the middle, and he wasn't looking for it. Bailey strikes out Ruggiano, but Miami, on the leadoff double by Pierre and an RBI single by Dietrich, has tied it. Brought to you by H.H. Gregg. As you can see, the rolling windows are open. The roof is open. A little Star Trek. They still use that, live long and prosper. I thought that went out with like Star Trek 4.
Mr. Spock.
Ricky Nolasco. And Nolasco will be facing Donald Lutz, who is a real fascinating story. The 6'4", 230-pounder. Lutz with a big swing and a miss. He's 23. Now, he was born in New York, Watertown, New York. But his family moved to Regensburg, Germany. His father in the Army, his mother German. And he is a German citizen. And he lines one to right field. Ozuna's there and makes the catch. So an out for Nolasco here in the second. Marlins and Reds tomorrow. And remember, it's Wednesday, so kids 12 and under eat free on Wednesday nights. All kids in attendance will get a voucher for a free Cam beef frank, a bag of Frito-Lay chips, and a small Pepsi or Aquafina water. Go to Marlins.com for more information. Ryan Hannigan, Devin Mesoraco, the everyday catcher for the Reds. Hannigan, terrific defensively, and he takes a strike, and it's been a real struggle for Hannigan offensively. You can see the numbers there.
Well, he had some time on the disabled list as well.
Hannigan 44 at bats and just 5 hits.
You know, a guy that we're not seeing is Jay Bruce, fine left-handed hitter. But Dusty Baker telling us that when he gives a guy a day off, and Jay Bruce had played every game, he likes to back it up either in front or on the back end with an off day. That way they get a couple of days.
And Bruce was so hot in that series against Milwaukee, he wanted him to play over the weekend.
So he played Sunday, but with the day off, the team traveling here, and then tonight he gets a couple of days.
Boy, Hannigan was all over that breaking ball, and he singles to left. Let's dive back into the tweets and the emails. A lot of questions about, we told you, prospects and players. Michael Hill will be by in about 3 innings. Juan wants to know what an extended spring training game is.
Well, we're going to try to explain it, but then we'll have Michael Hill give you the definition. Guys that are up in Jupiter that haven't been assigned to either the half-season league team or the low-A league team.
Bailey's bunt ends up foul.
Or the Jupiter team. They're still there, and so it's just kind of an extension of their spring training. So they play games, and those are the games right now that Logan Morrison is participating in.
And the games are loose enough, so to speak, that for a guy like Morrison, he can lead off 3 or 4 innings and get his 3 or 4 at bats and then go finish his rehab work. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Butted hard. Nolasco's going to go to first. Dietrich is there. And Homer Bailey, a successful sacrifice. This is where it pays off for the Reds to have a bat like Chu in the leadoff spot.
Yeah, your leadoff hitter has 17 RBIs. We'll check with Michael Hill to see if we did all right in that explanation.
Shin-Soo Choo bounced to first in the first. And he swings and fouls it. You look at a lot of the top spots. Choo in on base percentage is first. Votto is right behind him. Choo is also in the top 10 in slugging percentage, which is pretty darn impressive.
I like the question that Trey asked, wanting to know, because we have told the story a little bit, but was Dietrich someone that the Marlins drafted and developed? No. He came in a trade with Tampa. When the Marlins acquired Yunel Escobar as part of that deal with Toronto, they flipped Escobar over to Tampa and acquired Dietrich.
Chu gets hit again. So Nolasco drills him. And up comes Zach Cozart. Chu is one of those guys who's on the plate. You can see his arms almost extending out. That one clipped him. It looked like in the side.
Even though Zach Kozart doubled his last time up, Ricky has the opportunity now with a couple outs to go after a right-handed bat.
So Chu is at 12.
If not for time on the disabled list and suspended for 8 games, we probably would see Carlos Quinton on that list.
Here's Zach Kozart. You know, remember Bud Selig about 4 or 5 years ago named the designated hitter of the year trophy the Edgar Martinez trophy. Breaking ball, liner into left field. That's a base hit. Round third. Here comes Hannigan, and he's held on a good throw by Pierre. That's a surprise. The ball really was hit hard, but Pierre was all over it. You know, for Juan, he doesn't have the strongest arm. Everybody knows that. All the scouting reports say that, but he charged it well and got there quickly.
And I think if anyone else was coming up, Chris Spire, the third base coach, would have sent the runner. But you know who's coming up? Joey Votto. You also had the catcher out there, Ryan Hannigan, with below average speed. So you factor in those couple things.
So bags are loaded. After Chu was hit, Kozart singles. And now Votto, who's so selective, gets a backdoor breaking ball for a strike. And Votto not in agreement, although not showing up. The home plate umpire C.B. Buckner, but at least negotiating right now on that strike zone.
Try to get the Canadian exchange. You were talking, Rich, about batting practice, the way the ball was jumping out of here. Jeff Conine mentioned it. Joey Votto hit one deep into the home run porch in right field, up in the area where there's a big pillar with a Pepsi sign on it. That big pillar there.
And so Votto, the strength has come back. The 1-1. But his production has yet to really get rolling.
Yeah, he gives you that good debate you could have. You've got Joey Votto with all the walks and the on-base percentage, 4 home runs. And then you have a Todd Frazier who's hitting .236, but has more home runs and more RBIs.
Fastball up. Well, Votto in his history has always had good home run and RBI numbers. And there's your trio of Reds out there: Hannigan, Chu, and Kozart. 2-2 to Votto in a 1-1 game in the second. Votto shoots it foul and out of play. As we told you in Cincinnati, Joey Votto is certainly a student of the game and of hitting. That great book by Ted Williams, something that Votto has kept close to him ever since he signed. Second round pick back in 2002, native of Toronto. Is it The Science of Hitting?
Science of Hitting.
The other book that came out, The Science of Hitting, was Williams' book. Charlie Lau's book, and of course he's the guy that grooved and forged George Brett's swing, was The Art of Hitting 300. That's the one that Logan Morrison grew up reading as a kid. Two coming. Fastball came back and didn't miss by a whole lot, but it missed.
It's one of those pitches you'll see a lefty jump out of the way, and if that pitch comes back every once in a while, you'll get the call.
Boy, it didn't miss by much.
It missed, but not by much, and it was up a little bit.
Well, the bags are loaded, and that's the danger here with Votto being so good with the strike zone. 3-2. And he walked him. I would venture to say that it's happened less than 5 times in his career that Ricky Nolasco has ever walked a run home. Nolasco has always had terrific walk numbers, but he walks Votto, and it's his first walk of the ball game.
Now you saw the respect that he showed Joey Votto, throwing him a 3-2 breaking ball too.
And so Votto had a foot placed firmly in both camps for you there, Hut. He gets an RBI and he gets a walk.
That's right. He satisfied both ends.
There you go. Phillips up now. Brandon Phillips, a base hit back in the first. The Reds have reclaimed the lead here, 2-1. On a night where Nolasco is about to hit 50 pitches, and he's got 2 outs in the second. Phillips pulls that one foul. Still a Red at every base. Chu, Cozart, Votto. .32 RBIs now for Brandon Phillips.
A lot of times you hear the term, pitching coaches use it. They like to see their pitcher with fastball command. And right now, Ricky's struggling with the fastball command.
Mike Redmond watching Nolasco. Ricky gave up just the 1 run in San Diego in a 1-0 loss. 2-1. We've not seen this side of Ricky Nolasco in a long time. Look at that.
And it's the fastball that he's missing with. Those last 2 pitches were fastballs.
Phillips waiting, back coiled, 3-1. And it's way up. So Nolasco has had 6 3-ball counts. He has 2 bases loaded walks. The wheels haven't completely come off, but they're wobbling right now. And Chuck Hernandez is out to the mound to talk to Nolasco.
That's a struggle. It's a frustrating feeling for a pitcher when all of a sudden he loses command of that fastball. So 2 walks and a hit batter. It's been a rough go these first 2 innings.
All right, we have a couple of answers to your questions. Youngest average ages in the major leagues. The Astros are number 1. The Nationals are number 2. The Braves are number 3. The Reds are actually number 6. The Marlins are 16th. And I think what happens there is you get Pierre and Polanco and Dobbs, and that skews the age up. Good work by the crack staff. Pitch misses down low. And Tommy, one of your guys has chimed in. Aaron Charlton, crack staff West Coast, reports the walk to Votto was Nolasco's 5th career bases loaded walk. So I was right, 5 times or less.
Wow.
The walk to Phillips, his 6th career bases loaded walk. Nice to have you with us, Aaron. The 1-0.
That's because he heard us give him props earlier in the game.
No, that's because we have him on a
retainer.
There you go. Wait, LeBlanc is up, and that's something that you just don't expect to see with Nolasco making the start. Here's the 2-0.
And we talked about it earlier. The ERA with Ricky, how the first 3 innings it's about 4.5, and after that it settles down. But Ricky's going to have to really settle down to get beyond 3 innings in this one.
Bags filled with Reds. 55 pitches. 2-1. That one looked like it was in. It missed the target so much. You saw Rob Brantley lunge for it, but it was actually a strike. There's the split. 26 balls, 30 strikes. Driven to left, and that's hit well. Pierre on the move, and he won't get it. And off the wall it goes. Cozart scores. Votto scores. Here comes Phillips, and he will score. And the Reds have cracked it open. Xavier Paul with a 3-run double.
That's a problem when you really struggle with command. Hitters know they're going to probably see that fastball, especially on a 3-1 pitch. So Paul got the fastball. Give him credit. He stayed on it, drove the ball hard, and really sliced it away from Juan Pierre. He really never had a shot. So bases clearing double.
That one is hammered, and it's going foul. Todd Frazier turning on that one. As Tommy pointed out, Frazier's production is nice. 6 homers, 25 driven in, and 7 doubles. Frazier, the pride, or one of the proud sons of Toms River, New Jersey. In the air to right, Ozuna towards the line, and he makes the catch. And a long inning for Nolasco comes to an end. 5 runs for the Reds. 6-1 Cincinnati. Are the rookie team in New York Penn, the Hammerheads in Single A, Greensboro Grasshoppers, Jacksonville, and of course New Orleans. Who's your favorite nickname? I think the Muck Dogs have got to be the leaders. So hashtag Fish Dogs, hashtag Fish Heads for Hammerheads, hashtag Fish Hoppers. That's endorsed by Burke Badenhop. Hashtag Fish Sons and hashtag Fish Zephyrs. Greg Dobbs goes after the first pitch from Homer Bailey, and he hits it out of play. Dobbs for the Marlins, to be followed by Echeverria and Brantley. Now, the wacky nicknames for minor league teams, that really didn't start until probably about 15 years ago, when they realized they could sell a lot more caps and shirts with cool names. Here's the 0-1. Dobbs a little roller. Phillips flips to first in time to get the out. Reds defensively, some gold out there, especially with Brandon Phillips. It's brought to you by the Cleveland Clinic, Florida.
Well, Xavier Paul, he's made his presence known already. Shin-Soo Choo in center. And Lutz in right, Frazier, Cozart, Phillips, and Votto. Yeah, Brandon Phillips with 3 Gold Glove. Joey Votto won a Gold Glove in 2011. That was his year. He's been an all-star. He's been an MVP. Votto's done a little bit of everything.
Here's a strike to Echeverria.
I always liked the, I don't know if they still are, but there used to be a team in Lansing, Michigan, the Lansing
Lugnuts.
Yes.
Now, what was the wackiest team that you played for? I mean, they were all pretty much major league type names, right?
Yeah, in Albuquerque in Double-A, we were the Albuquerque Dodgers. In Single-A in Santa Barbara, we were the Santa Barbara Dodgers. And in Spokane, the Spokane Indians, because that was a long-standing name for that team there.
So when I was in the Coast League, they were the Albuquerque Dukes, and now they are the Isotopes. After, of course, the hometown 9 for the Simpsons.
It's a great crack staff really helping us out with the New Orleans Zephyrs. Zephyrs comes from when they used to be in Denver. They were the Denver Zephyrs, and it was a wind. It's like a wind. Well, when they moved to New Orleans, they had a big roller coaster called the Zephyr. And so they kept the name, the New Orleans Zephyrs.
Now, Jack McKeon is here tonight. Here's the 0-2, and it's out. He managed in Denver, but I believe they were the Bears.
They were the Bears back in the late 60s, early 70s, yes.
Danny Echeverria against Homer Bailey, who's hit the jackpot here with 6 early runs. And Echeverria shoots one into right field, a base hit. Well, you know, the one thing about Bailey is last couple starts, Tom, he's given up 4 runs in each of those 2 starts. So it's not like he's been lighting the world on fire in his last few times out. He gave up 4 runs in St. Louis and 4 runs to the Braves. And both of those outings just 5 innings. And here is Brantley. Brantley stands in. And he takes a strike. In case you missed it on Marlins Live, the Marlins activated Jeff Mathis, who, of course, was hurt. I believe it was the first game of spring training. Suffered a
first game he caught, yeah.
Broken right collarbone. And, yeah, it was the first spring game. February 23rd, believe it or not. That's when the first game was.
Yeah.
There's a look at Mathis, a Florida native.
Always known as a tremendous defensive catcher. See, in 2012, throwing out 40% of the runners that tried to steal against him.
So Miami right now has 3 catchers. With Miguel Olivo still on the roster, Mathis activated. It gives Mike Redmond a little bit of flexibility. He can use Olivo as a pinch hitter. But at the same time, you get the sense that the ball club probably isn't going to carry 3 catchers for the entire season.
You know, you look at the results so far of Rob Brantley. He has struggled, there's no question. And he's worked a lot on his defense. I think to a degree, he may not admit this, I think to a degree it's affected the offense, hitting just 229, no home runs.
Brad wants to know, most interesting Twitter Tuesday question you've ever received. That's, I mean, that's like asking who your favorite child is, you know. You just can't. I mean, I can give you our oddest one of the night. It's from Keisha. Where's my David Wright insert at the bottom of the screen? She's a big David Wright fan. Why is the rum gone? And what's up? So every now and then we get one like that. Tommy once got a question as to what his favorite cheese was. Brantley swings and misses.
Wow, I forget what I answered.
I think we were in Milwaukee at the time. Here's Nolasco now. So Brantley strikes out. Echeverria still at first. And Nolasco's first at bat. Bailey protecting a 6-1 lead.
Even though Bailey hasn't been pinpoint, his pitch count's still a lot lower than Ricky's. We haven't had a chance to scout the 27-year-old right-hander. Late life on that fastball. Good power, 12-6. You know what? That splitter, that was the pitch that struck out Rob Brantley.
Oh, 2. And Nolasco takes. A lot of questions about Marcelo Zuna, how the Marlins keep him in the lineup when Giancarlo Stanton returns. Stanton is not close to returning right now, so that's a question that the Marlins don't have to answer for a while. Nolasco strikes out. Bailey has struck out 3, and the Reds are up 6-1.
I'm going to tell you somebody everybody needs to follow on Twitter, baseball fan or not, and that is Joe Madden. And while he has some interesting and funny tweets from time to time, the #1 reason is to see what the heck is going on in the Rays clubhouse. This is from today. Great vibe in the clubhouse today with music by Sol Caribe. Let's see if it carries over into tonight's game from @Rays Joe Madden. By the way, Rays down 3-0 right now to Boston, so the vibe has not carried over so far into the game. I have to tell you, though, earlier this season, he tweeted a picture of a penguin and a picture of a cockatoo, both guests in the Rays clubhouse. Always crazy stuff going on over there in Tampa Bay. So good follow on Twitter is Joe Madden to see what exactly the Rays have cooking, guys.
Penguin, I believe, was sitting on the chair at his desk in his office. Here's Lutz now. Lutz did play Little League ball in Germany with his parents, his father in the service, able to play on the military base.
Played a lot of soccer over in Germany.
A little hockey as well. Ricky gets over there and Lutz is out. Nolasco gets the first out of the 3rd inning. This copyright telecast presented by the authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced, retransmitted in any form. Accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins.
Well, where Ricky got into trouble last inning, after 2 were out, he had gotten 2 outs. He threw 22 pitches, and the 5 runs scored last inning.
Pulled foul. Ryan Hannigan up there right now. South Florida Marlin tweets. In 2008 or 2009, one of the members of Email Tuesday asked who would win a wrestling match, Minervini or Frank Fort.
We actually tried to put that together in a steel cage.
I think I would win because I have more experience in wrestling.
You do as an announcer.
Yeah, went toe to toe with Andre the Giant.
So I
That
think
didn't work out well.
you know some of the moves, don't you?
I could do a better belly-to-belly suplex. Although I think Frank's better prepared for it.
Who has the bigger belly, though? Would be
That's what I said.
The question. 1-2 to Ryan Hannigan. Hits it hard, but Polanco is there. And he throws him out. So Nolasco, who labored through 9 hitters, 5 of whom scored, 2 on bases loaded walks, has bounced back here in the third to get a couple of quick outs. Let's get back to that one question. How do the Marlins keep Ozuna in the lineup when Stanton returns? And there's been a lot of questions not only about Stanton's return, but Yelich's arrival if Christian Yelich continues to play the way he's playing.
Boy, he has. And you mentioned earlier with Giancarlo, he's really not done any baseball activity. So it's going to be a while before he gets back on the field. Then you start thinking about it a little more then. But with Christian Yelich, who's been on fire, he's gotten his average up to 330, 340. I think Mike Hill will give us a better indication. Good inning for Ricky.
Yep, Nolasco strikes out Bailey. 1-2-3 go the Reds. The roof is open, and the Reds have jumped on Ricky Nolasco. Minor league report, Christian Yelich is a name that everybody who follows Miami should know. 23rd overall pick in the 2010 draft. He had a dynamite spring. Of course, he broke his hand. Everybody in that outfield in Double-A was hurt to begin the year, but Yelich has come on. He's hit .317. His slugging percentage, .610. All numbers you like to see.
And I think if you go over the last few weeks, that average up greatly because he got off to a slow start because of the injury and really wasn't hitting that solidly. But 7 doubles, 4 triples to go along with the 3 home runs. So he's really picked things up, and that would be a good question for Mike Hill about Christian Yelich. The one safe answer certainly is that we will see Christian Yelich here in the big leagues before September. How about that? That going out on a limb?
No, I would say July, actually.
Okay.
I'd go further out on that limb. Here's Pierre now. And he takes a fastball for a strike. Pierre doubled back in the first. Miami got a run in the first to tie the game, but then the Reds poured across 5 in the second.
I'll tell you what I like about the young players up, and we've seen it in Ozuna and Dietrich. They bring in some of that youthful enthusiasm. And the other thing, in my opinion, they put pressure, a little pressure on those guys maybe that aren't playing right now, that are on the bench, or the guys that are hurt right now. Maybe to get better a little quicker. Maybe to get back in the lineup a little quicker. So I think it bodes well for a ball club like that to have the young players come up and have a little success.
You still haven't answered the question about what your favorite cheese is. Here's the 1-2. And Pierre gets sawed off, pops it up. Frazier makes the catch. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig?
Hey, guys, last night in the National Hockey League, the Boston Bruins became the first team ever to trail by 3 goals in the third period and win a Game 7. And Steve Cishek, New England native, watched every second of it.
I was going nuts in the apartment. I was by myself watching it, and I think my neighbors think I like killed someone or something because I was just banging on the wall, screaming. It was the most intense game I've watched in hockey.
So you stayed with it if the Leafs took a 4-1 lead in the third period.
I did. I wasn't going to give in. You know, I saw all the tweets out there of Boston fans talking about firing the coach and trading players already. I'm like, come on, guys. You know, it's. I just wanted to stick it out and be a true fan, so it paid off too.
A lot of Bruin fans actually left, tried to get back in the building as the game went into overtime when Boston won. So now, to advance this story, Tom Kohler, who is a New York native, is a big Rangers fan, and Cishek is a Bruins fan. They have a little wager going on as those two teams will meet in the next round. And the thing is that the loser is going to have to wear the visiting jersey. Now, Tom actually just brought his T-shirt in today with King Henry's number, Henry Lundqvist, the goalie for the Rangers. But loser's going to have to wear that opposing jersey of the team they can't stand. Should be fun. Another episode, guys, of a Boston versus New York sports series coming up.
Good stuff. Here's Derek Dietrich, who takes a breaking ball for a strike. Dietrich, an RBI single back in the first. One of the things Miami liked about Dietrich when they made the Toronto deal and immediately flipped Escobar over to the Rays is the fact that Dietrich can play third base as well as second base. It gives them some flexibility.
Played a lot of shortstop in the minor leagues. I'll tell you another thing they liked. They liked his background, his genes. You've talked about and chronicled the past of his grandfather. And we saw Jack McKeon tonight. Jack McKeon told us he managed and played against Steve Demeter, Derek Dietrich's grandfather.
There was a really nice story in today's Sun Sentinel about that relationship and how the grandfather helped mold Dietrich as a player, as a hitter, really taking a liking to him, taking him out, batting practice, all of that. Grandfather following his career up until he passed away, and was happy that he got to the minor leagues, followed on the internet his games and his successes. And as Dietrich said in Los Angeles, he's sure that his grandfather's got a front row seat right now. 3-2 coming from Bailey. Fly ball to left. Hall started back, now in when he makes the catch. So Homer Bailey is protecting that 6-1 lead. for Ricky Nolasco. The Cincinnati Reds, not those Reds, but a reasonable facsimile of them, will be here on Thursday night. Reds Marlins. And it's a senior free ticket Thursday. 55 and over, get a free ticket on game day. You can visit Subway for a $5 voucher as well. Marlins.com or 1-877-MARLINS, the number to call. Ricky Nolasco to work. Shin Soo Choo takes a breaking ball for a strike. Marlins Vice President, General Manager Michael Hill joins us now. Michael, how are you?
I'm okay, guys. How are you doing this evening?
We're good. We got just about every question we've had come through. Has not your name on it, but it's right up your alley. It's
we took notes.
Player development and prospects. That's kind of our theme tonight. So let's put you right to work.
Okay.
There were questions about Christian Yelich. Those kind of have been the most popular ones. Strike three called to Choo. Christian Yelich, how has he progressed? Marlin fans want to know, when is the likelihood that they will see him in a big league uniform?
I would say, it's still a work in progress. Obviously, he started the year injured on a disabled list, but 20 or so, 21 games, 21 games back in the lineup, and he's starting to find his groove, and we just want to get him comfortable at the Double-A level, and I think once we feel we're comfortable with that, we can make him a consideration to join this club.
Primarily playing center field, correct?
Actually, with Jake Marisnick back.
Pierre goes back, and at the track he makes the catch.
With Marisnick back in the lineup, also one of our top prospects who started the year on the disabled list. Now that he is back, he and Christian are flip-flopping. They're rotating between left and center field.
Tell us about Marisnick, because Yelich certainly has got most of the headlines, not only in the Marlins organization, but around minor league baseball. Ozuna's here, so all of a sudden people know about him. Marisnick, one of the key pieces you got back from Toronto.
Exactly. He was part of that trio that was supposed to start the year at Double-A. Jake, who we acquired as a part of that Toronto deal. 6'4", athletic center fielder. For those who saw him in spring training, tremendous defensive player. His bat has been what has slowed him down a little bit, but he coming off a very good fall league last year. He was off to a great start in spring training, offensively and defensively, before he took a foul ball or took a fastball off of his hand that disabled him for the start of the season. But he's back now and back in the lineup, and he's starting to get himself where we want him to be also.
Joey Votto's up, counts 2-1, 6-1, Reds on top. 5 runs in the top of the second for the Reds, and Votto drew a bases loaded walk.
Mike, we also keep hearing really good things about the progress of Logan Morrison too.
Yes, Lomo was actually on dirt today in the extended spring training game. Played 5 innings of defense, and his return to play is as planned, and hopefully we're going to get him a little deeper into the games, and hopefully we'll get his eye sharpened, and hopefully out on rehab with a full season club here soon.
Nolasco has tightened up after that long second inning, and Ricky now has retired 8 in a row. Back with Michael Hill after this. business is hopping out there. I actually wore this tie to go along with the outfits out there. Now, a lot of questions about this guy, Andrew Haney, first-round pick, 9th overall pick in 2012.
He is a part of a number of our prospects that unfortunately started the year on the disabled list. He had an intercostal pull early in spring training, so we weren't able. You guys weren't able to get a look at him much in spring training, but he's back pitching. He actually pitched today in extended spring training. The velocity is back. He has a wipeout secondary pitch, which is a slider, and we're hopeful to get him back, rejoining that Jupiter staff sooner rather than later.
Marcell Ozuna is up. You guys have to be really pleased with the way that he has approached his first weeks in the big leagues. I mean, here's a guy that played just 10 games over single A before he got here.
No, and because of the Stanton injury, we sort of accelerated getting him to the big leagues. He was on the roster, so it made it an easy choice for us. He was hot to start the year there, and he hasn't missed a beat. Now, the biggest thing for him, he's always displayed those 5 tools. We had always wanted him to be more selective in the minor leagues with his pitch selection and chasing breaking balls, and he worked really hard over the offseason and through spring training, and I think we've seen that at the major league level. He hasn't chased as many pitches. He's tried to put himself in better hitting counts, not so much this at bat, but since his time up, he's been able to put himself into good hitters counts and drive in some runs for us.
He's played some great defense. He's already tied just in 12 games for the league lead in assists with 3.
I guess that's the beauty.
Drive to right, hit pretty well. Lutz is there, and he makes the catch.
Yeah, the beauty of the league, not knowing him yet defensively. They don't know that this was a Gold Glover.
Yeah, I'll tell you who knows him right now is Carl Crawford.
I would say Carl definitely knows who Marcell Ozuna was. That was one heck of a throw that he had in L.A. over the weekend.
How's the rehab going for Nate Eovaldi?
He is progressing as well. We recently transferred him to the 60-day disabled list, but he's healthy now. He's off the mound, and he's slated to get into his throwing progression, which begins with a live batting practice, and hopefully those go well as we work him back towards performing in some rehab starts.
Luciano up there right now. He swings and misses. Other arms to talk about or think about in your system right now?
Well, a name that we acquired last year around the trade deadline, Jacob Turner, has pitched very well at AAA. I think one of the things we wanted to accomplish when we sent him down was to refine that velocity that he demonstrated as an amateur, and that is starting to come back, and we're starting to see the guy who we knew he could be. Also, another player acquired in that trade, Brian Flynn, our 6'8" left-hander, did very well at AA. He was promoted to AAA and hasn't missed a beat. Lots of strikes, 3-pitch mix, and very efficient in how he approaches his starts day in and day out.
Ruggiano battling with the count 0-2. Your impression of Tom Kohler's first start this year?
I think it was encouraging. It was very encouraging. Tommy's been a very consistent, durable starter for us in the minor league level, and a big winner as a starter. And I think when the decision was made, we wanted to give him that opportunity because he had done everything that we've asked him to do, and we wanted to get his feet wet in the major leagues, in the bullpen, walk him through the bullpen. He's really taken to that role in the bullpen, but it was an opportunity to see him start, and he wasn't overwhelmed. It looked like, and you guys were there, I only saw it on TV, but he threw strikes. He was aggressive, attacked hitters, and I think that's something to build on.
Yeah, I think the thing that was a standout in that start against the Dodgers, he has all the pitches. And I think with a few more starts, he'll be able to use all those pitches. I mean, his fastball was 94, 95, and he's got a couple of breaking balls and a changeup.
Yeah, I think it's just the adjustment. We went both ways. We brought him to the big leagues, put him in the pen, and sort of took away some of those weapons just so he could focus on establishing that fastball and that fastball command. And he slowly but surely mixed in those other things, that changeup, that two-seamer, that curveball, the slider, all effective pitches for him as he came through the system. So it was good to see him attack a lineup more than one time through, as he did in the start on Sunday.
Greg Dobbs fouls that one off, and the count's 0-2. (6-1) Reds on top of the Marlins. 6 hits for the Reds. Michael Hill, Marlins vice president and general manager, with us. Have you got another half inning in you? Because we have more prospects to talk about.
For you guys, of course.
Okay, got a yes or no. This is a quick one, because
Okay.
this is a nice tweet from AJ. Does Ozuna have the potential to be a 30-20 guy?
Yes.
Okay. I would agree.
I would agree.
We saw him steal his first base earlier tonight. Bailey ready is 0-2. And to give Homer Bailey credit here, he was given a 6-1 lead, and he's pounded the strike zone. He hasn't messed around. He's pitching to the score, and he's pitching to the park. Bailey, of course, had that great year last year, especially in the postseason. Strike 3 call at the letters. And Bailey strikes him out. All right, Michael Hill, stick around. 6-1 Reds. We're back for the 5th after this sports injury prevention message from Cleveland Clinic.
Keep reading, Reds. Keep reading.
Florida. Proof stat against right-handed pitchers, active players. We've seen Joe Mauer, we'll see Todd Helton, Votto is here, Pujols in the American League, and everybody loves Miggy. Michael Hill, Vice President General Manager, is with us. We're talking prospects. That's the theme tonight on a social media Tuesday. And right now it's all Reds, with Brandon Phillips leading off. Breaking ball is a strike. Okay. Your Jupiter ball club. We got a couple names to talk about at Jupiter. Your pitcher of the month and your player of the month. For you, you've got certainly the great outfield in Double-A Jacksonville, but Jupiter is your high A team has got some guys as well, and here they are. Here's a couple on the left, and Yelich is included in this group as well.
Isaac Galloway has battled injuries throughout his time in the system, but we finally have him healthy, and he's gotten off to a great start. And he's another young athletic outfielder, can play all three, speed, power, average combination. So we're very happy with the progress that he's making. Anthony DeStefani, who was one of the pieces that not a lot of people realized we got back in the Toronto deal, and he's one that Mike Redmond was very high on when we were going through names as we went through the process.
He'd seen him, right?
Yeah, because Red has seen him and had him, and just couldn't say enough good things about the type of competitor and how he approaches things on the mound, and he's gotten off to a great start. a great win-loss record, pounding the strike zone, very efficient, 3-pitch mix, and has gotten off to a great start.
And our producer certainly keeps a close eye on Desclafani, given the fact that he's a former Gator.
Yes, he is a former Gator.
Counts 2-2 with Nolasco working to Brandon Phillips. Up the middle into center field, base hit. Phillips leads off with a hit. Now, whenever the Marlins go to Cincinnati, you happen to be on that trip, and that's not by accident. You are a Cincinnati guy. Was it Moeller High School? What high school for you?
I actually graduated from Cincinnati Country Day, so a
that's
smaller school.
Still some tradition there.
Yeah, there's some tradition there, but born and raised in Cincinnati, and
then on to Harvard to play baseball and football. A running back, right?
Yes, a few pounds ago, but true.
Yeah, we were talking between innings, some of the Reds that were of your era, guys that you followed when you were a teenager starting to play low ball.
Exactly. The Big Red Machine was around in my youth when I was really young, but as I got into competitive sports, it was more of the Barry Larkin and Eric Davises and Jose Rijos and Mario Sotos and it's a long tradition, coming from Cincinnati, and a rich tradition of baseball there, and it was a great environment for me to grow up in, and really laid the foundation for my passion in baseball.
Phillips is running, a swing and a miss. Brantley's throw on the money, and he's out.
From his knee, too.
What a throw.
Rob Brantley guns out Brandon Phillips.
Seen Brantley do this a couple of times. The pitch was down, so in order to make that quick snap throw, sometimes you don't have the opportunity to get up, and boy, from his knee he fires a strike with something on it.
Wow, and that was a breaking ball, and Phillips got a great jump there, so for Brantley to put that right on the bag, excellent throw.
Which leads us to the progression of Rob Brantley. We haven't seen the hitting yet. I know the catching he's working on, and I hope that hasn't affected his hitting. But how have you seen Rob Brantley so far this year?
We're going to say this a lot as we talk about a lot of our young players and how we slowly introduce them to the major leagues. It is a process, and it's ongoing. They're going to have their good days, they're going to have their bad days. But the one thing you always see with these guys is their effort. And Rob Brantley is always one of the first to the ballpark. He has the luxury to have a 13-year veteran as his manager who's been behind the plate, who imparts incredible knowledge and experiences with him, and it's ongoing. He's done a great job with learning the nuances of our pitching staff and working with them on a daily basis, and the hitting part. We've seen it here just in the few months of the season where he's gone through his streaks offensively, and I think that's what you're going to see with all of our young players until they get that comfort level and that consistency up there.
A swing and a miss by Todd Frazier here in the fifth. 6-1 Cincinnati.
Well, Ricky kind of following his MO, struggles early in the game, but he's really settled down well. A lot of it, you see the fastball command, the breaking ball. Xavier Paul a little upset with himself. Might have to be careful with that helmet. Sometimes you can get fined doing that. I don't think he did.
Do you think he thought that was the third out?
He was behaving like it was the third out there.
Yes, I think that would be my first instinct, because he kind of looked up like, whoops.
I better go get my helmet and go back to the dugout.
That's right. The bat boy usually does that after 3 outs. Counts 1-2. Nolasco, after a nightmare of a second inning, has pitched very well in the third, fourth, and here in the fifth. At the knees, Ricky strikes him out.
Fastball command. He didn't have it early.
All right, Michael Hill. We look forward to the Yelichs and the Marisniks arriving shortly. Let's hope.
They'll be here. Let's keep their progress going, and it'll be good when we get them.
Outstanding. lost his control, actually walked a couple runs home in the second, but Nolasco has tightened up. The problem is Miami has been unable to get to Homer Bailey. A little bit of everything tonight. They got a Pac-Man, Tom. Did you see that? That's old school.
That's old school. Pac-Man, yeah.
Mom and Dad play on the Pac-Man.
Pac-Man with no gloves. It's old school. I got to get this tweet in.
Echeverria with Brantley and Nolasco scheduled. All right, we appreciate all the prospect talk, but anything you got on your mind, just let her rip.
Well, just from SMB. And the question is, do my tweets and emails have the potential of ever being read on air? Yeah, I just read one.
Roller up the line, and it's foul. We'll go to his timeline and find out.
I see, now you're asking me to do something I don't know how to do. Walk me through this.
All right, so you click on the picture, okay?
Okay.
The profile picks up. Click on the picture.
The picture up
there
here.
There you go.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Now see his profile.
Oh, I got it. I
There's
see
your
the timeline.
So, there you go. Anything good in there? You can actually do more tweets as well.
No, there's nothing really good. That's why we haven't read them.
Here's the 0-2. And that one's cranked foul. Any tweet that has a Mr. Mantastic reference doesn't have a high likelihood of getting read. South Florida Honda dealers will bring you Marlins live. Craig Minervini and Jeff Conine live from center field. You can see Matt Diaz with a bat, which signals that it's probably the end of the line for Ricky Nolasco. If the Marlins get something going here, and Echeverria takes a called third strike. Homer Bailey's been outstanding in this one. 5 strikeouts now for Bailey, and he has not walked a hitter.
Of course, Homer Bailey last September in Pittsburgh threw a no-hitter, had just 1 walk and 10 strikeouts in that game.
Brantley up the middle into center field, and he has his first hit in Miami's 4th of the ball game. And here comes Diaz,
and that's a good Brantley swing.
So a frustrating night for Nolasco. As you pointed out, Tommy, fastball command wasn't there in the second. He wasn't sharp in the first, but 3rd, 4th, and 5th, he certainly was.
First inning for Ricky, remember he threw 30 pitches. He threw 33 pitches his last 3 innings.
Diaz pulls a ground ball, a hop up for Frazier. Phillips turns the double play, and the Reds are out of the bottom of the 5th. Sailing to the 6th. Cincinnati 6-1. Tuesday night, the Reds and the Marlins opening up a 3-game series at Marlins Park. On Email Tuesdays, we have a lot of folks along. Allison Williams, Jeff Conine, Craig Minervini, Tommy Hutton along with us. And it's a 6-1 Reds lead. Ricky Nolasco's night is done. Wade LeBlanc comes in.
Wade LeBlanc started one of those games in that 4-game series, the Saturday game, 3rd game of the series against the Reds. It went 4 innings, gave up 7 hits, a couple of runs, and just really struggled. And that's why Mike Redmond made the switch with Tom Kohler going into the rotation, and LeBlanc giving Redmond a couple of left-handers now to go along with Mike Dunn in the bullpen.
Donald Lutz now. And Lutz fouls it off. Lutz, Ryan Hannigan, and then Homer Bailey. Lutz signed as a free agent out of Germany. He played for the German team in the World Baseball Classic qualifiers.
He's had some pretty good seasons in the minor leagues. A couple of years ago, 2011, hit .301, hit 20 home runs in A-ball. So he's progressed. Hit 22 home runs last year between AA and A-ball. And as you pointed out, he hadn't played a whole lot of baseball growing up in Germany.
Pitch down low in the dirt. Dave wants to know, by activating Mathis and keeping Olivo, is it a sign that Olivo may see some time at first base to give Dobbs a day off or two?
That's a possibility. We saw Nick Green over there in a game in L.A. And that's been a tough decision for Redmond because Jeff Mathis, there's just an opportunity for a right-handed hitting first baseman, but there really isn't a pure right-handed hitting first baseman.
Your guy SMB just came back with a strong tweet. He's the one that you didn't find all that interesting on his timeline.
Talking about Mr. Fantastic.
That's right, on to first. All right, before we get to that tweet, let's take a look at the Firestone Complete Auto Care Extra Mile. Johnny B. Baker, Dusty, 66. This is his 6th year. National League managers, John McGraw, Bobby Cox, Leo DeRocher, Bill McKechnie.
That's a pretty good list that Dusty has climbed into.
What do you have to? Do you have to win a World Series to get in the Hall of Fame as a manager?
I don't know if you have to, but I think it's certainly
helps the resume.
Yeah, it helps. Yeah.
Strike to Hannigan. All right, SMB wants to know. In fact, he says, I usually save the good questions for emails because I'm still learning.
So he's like me. We're just still learning.
Wants to know if umps are ever sent down.
That's now that's a good question.
It's a great question.
Because there are many times that we feel they should be. There have been some suspensions just recently. Umpire was suspended. There are some that kind of come up and down who fluctuate as fill-in umpires. So I guess you could say when they go back to the minor leagues, they're sent down. But it's not really because of performance at that time. It's because a veteran umpire's taking some time off. Who was it the other that the pitching change? The Fielding Colbreth?
Fielding Colbreth.
Yeah.
And he was suspended and fined. The rest of that crew was fined as well. Hannigan digs in the 2-1 pitch. And LeBlanc. This is down low. I have a hard time saying Wade LeBlanc without doing the French version because I was scolded one night on an email night from some of his buddies from back in Louisiana. Lake Charles, Louisiana. They said it's not Wade LeBlanc, it's Wade LeBlanc. it'd be a lot easier to do that if this were hockey. It would flow right off the tongue. Here's the 3-1, and it's down low.
Lori wants to know if we call each other in the afternoon to discuss what ties we're going to wear.
No,
it just sometimes works that way.
Nah, that'd be creepy. Hannigan aboard at first, and here's Homer Bailey. Good hitting pitcher. He's 4 for 11. The Reds have him bunt, and he pops it foul on the screen.
Yeah, mojo in Tampa must be working now for Joe Madden. The Rays have taken a 5-3 lead over the Red Sox.
Live music in the clubhouse. If that's all it takes, then Mike Redmond would have live music every night. Get Dobbs and call Petey up, and they can jam on their guitars. One out, counts 0-2. Hannigan's at first. Up the line, but foul.
This is an interesting road trip, I think, for the Reds. Starting things here, then on to Philadelphia, and then into New York, because they have not played well on the road. The Reds are just 6-10 on the road, but 16-6 at home. And they've played a bunch of games against the National League East. Dusty Baker knows the National League East. This is their 18th game against the East right now.
Bailey swings and misses a good changeup from LeBlanc. And Shin Soo Choo comes to play. Now, Choo is hit in the second. I started it, and unfortunately, Choo and the inning progressed quickly. But was it 5-6 years ago that Bud Selig deemed the designated hitter of the year award the Edgar Martinez award?
About that, yeah.
So what would you call the guy who gets hit by pitches the most award? Would it be the Craig Biggio award, the Don Baylor award?
Yeah, you could go back. Yeah, you could use either of those guys. You could go back further, 60s, 70s, to a Ron Hunt award, who was hit numerous times. I like the Biggio award, though. Of course, so Biggio did so many other things, too, and actually should have been elected to the Hall of Fame this year.
The best part about Don Baylor getting hit was he showed no pain. Don Baylor, and we'll see Don Baylor here in a few days.
I don't think he wore the pad. No. Biggio did. Here's the all-time guys. Jason Kendall. There's a good one. Forgot about the former catcher.
Two balls, two strikes.
But see, if you really think about it, see, this could open up to a good discussion. Baylor and Biggio did a lot of things. Baylor hit home runs, Biggio.
Baylor was an MVP.
Yeah, 3,000 hits. So if you go for a guy who just got hit and was just an average player, you'd say Ron Hunt. He's a second baseman.
I don't think the Ron Hunt award would.
It doesn't have the same. Doesn't have the same flow to it. Now, I will say, just to give you insight on Ron Hunt, for those who aren't aware of him, he was a second baseman, played for the Mets, played for the Expos, a few other teams. He didn't wear the elbow pad, but he wore a big padded like corset underneath his jersey and would take shots in the ribs and hit that padding.
Brenner goes and it's fouled off. So he wore the rib pads much like quarterbacks wear. Though I don't think Kevlar had been invented at that point.
No.
Just what?
It was kind of a homemade deal.
Duck feathers and horsehair. Well, Chu walks, so Shin-Soo Chu has been hit by a pitch. He struck out, bounced out, and walked. He's been on base twice. And here comes Zach Kozar. Your buddy SMB writes back, Tommy, I'll take that as an apology after the nothing good comment.
Well, when I looked at the recent ones, I saw nothing good. But came back strong, though. That's a good sign. It's like coming back with a couple of hits after an 0 for 8.
Sean wants to know, what's the latest on Fox Tracks? Most of the feedback wanted to see it used more.
We don't make those decisions. How's that for an answer?
Well, we had it in for one game, and I have, to be honest with you, I haven't really monitored the feedback itself. So I know we are going to do it on another night. Maybe on that night we'll have an active poll. We'll make that. See, that's what we should do. We should have another night and then make it the AT&T Uverse social media Twitter poll. On to second in time. Polanco gets the out. 6-1 Reds. Fuel-efficient Hondas. And by Kaiser University, now offering degrees in sports management. Learn more at kaiseruniversity.edu. Kind of a breezy night here in Miami, and the roof is open for the 9th time this year. The Marlins trying to reverse a discouraging trend in that they are 0-8 with the roof open so far this season.
Here's one for you, Rich. We should be able to answer this. Jordan wants to know what Marlin from the 03 team should be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, el receptor.
Yeah. Pudge Rodriguez.
El receptor muy bueno. Miguel Cabrera might get there.
Yeah, I think if you answered it right now, you'd say, okay, in a couple of years, 2-3 years, he'll be eligible. Pudge Rodriguez, and when his career is over, Miguel Cabrera will be, yes.
Pierre chops one out towards second. Phillips flips to first and gets the out. First it's the Reds, then it's the Sedona Reds. That's the color of the Arizona Diamondbacks. They're in on a fireworks Friday.
See, look at that background.
There's the Sedona Red. There you go. Very nice, Crackstaff. Friday the 17th, celebrate Cuban Heritage Night and get the Sir Pizza 4-pack for just $60. Plus, stay after the game for a fireworks spectacular presented by Chevron and a concert on the West Plaza with Celia Cruz and the All-Stars. Marlins.com, the place to go for information. Let's check in with Allison. A-Dub.
Well, you guys were talking about the matchup Friday night, Cuban Heritage Night here at Marlins Ballpark. And if you take a look, these are the little mugs they'll be giving out, the cafecitos they're called, for Cuban Heritage Night. If you purchase the tickets, the select fans that purchase them will receive these as a complimentary gift. There should also be a meet and greet with Livan Hernandez. So that's all Friday night when the Marlins take on the Diamondbacks. Cheers. It was cute, right?
Very nice.
I like that.
That one hits Polanco. I like Cuban Heritage Night on Thursday. It's an unofficial Cuban Heritage Night.
Yeah, I like that.
Because
I'm with you on this one.
The pitching matchup on Thursday night is one you want to see. It's Jose Fernandez and Coconut Creek's Matt Latos. Latos is 4-0. Fernandez has pitched well his last 2 times out, so that'll be something to see. Homer Bailey's not happy that he hit Polanco. Bailey's been outstanding since giving up a first-inning run. He's kept the Marlins off the board.
Had a nice conversation with Matt Latos in the Reds clubhouse earlier today, and talking about a couple of little mechanical changes he's made that have gotten him off to a good start.
Derek Dietrich now, RBI single, and a fly ball out to left for Dietrich. 1-0 pitch, roller up the middle into center field, base hit. Dietrich has another hit. Round in second. Polanco gets to third, and so Dietrich is 2 for 3. Ball gets loose. Dietrich thought about second, and then once Votto corralled it, he hits back to first base. For more on the latest prospect to get to the big leagues, back to Allison.
Well, guys, you were talking last time Dietrich was up to bat about his grandfather, Stephen Demeter, who played in the big leagues, passed away in February. And as a tribute to his grandfather, who had such an influence not only on baseball, but also just his life for Dietrich, he has his slogan, "Let it fly." That was what he always told Derek. And then he added his year of birth and the year of his death with RIP underneath it. He said he would always just tell me to let it fly, well, whether it was at the plate or in the field. And you know, if Stephen were here, he would be so proud of Derek. And in fact, his influence on him in baseball goes back to when Derek was just a kid and he noticed that he would bat left but throw right-handed, and he told his parents to just leave him that way. Followed his playing career all the way until his death in February. Guys.
Thank you, Allison. Well, if the Marlins are going to get back in it, right now is a pretty good time to start. Roller foul. You've got Ozuna up there, and Polanco at third, and Dietrich at first base. We've had a few of you joining late in our dialogue about prospects. A few more Lomo questions about his expected return date. Marlins are hopeful that he's eligible, I believe, on the 31st or on June 1st. Marlins are hopeful, and there's promising news with the way things are going, that he's able to hit that date. Cholula Hot Sauce, player of the night. The spotlight goes to Ozuna. You see his climb. The 24 home runs led the Florida State League, and that's a league that historically is hard to hit home runs in.
A lot of big ballparks. Of course, very hot and humid in the summertime. Yeah, the Marlins are home that weekend against the Mets, too. The 31st of May, 1st of June.
Ozuna swings and misses. And Bailey gets a strikeout. Up comes Ruggiano. A tweet from Nuno. Maybe the crew should show something other than South Beach coming out of break, and maybe show Brickell Avenue, which is actually in Miami, pointing out.
Great area.
So there's a request for the folks in the truck.
We'll send our
RF cam.
RF camera guy.
Going to have to boost the signal. Going to have to boost the signal a little bit, but there's the RF camera.
We're sending Billy to Brickell.
Better give him a 20. They're headed to their car right now. That actually would be fun, just to see what the range of the RF cam would be if you could boost the signal. Billy on Brickell. Ruggiano hit a seed to short his last time up, and he has struck out.
You know, the little cup that Allison had that they're giving away on Cuban Heritage Night, you know, for a nice Cuban coffee. Somehow I just picture Allison with a skinny latte. See? Right? What do you think?
What's that about a skinny latte?
Yeah, well, you would have that instead
That's
of
what I do drink.
instead of a Cuban coffee.
A skinny vanilla latte. You know me too well, Dion. But you drink the Cuban coffee, right?
I do.
This would
Yes.
be for you. I'll send this up. Thank you.
If Phalo Ramirez can have a Cuban coffee and a double espresso, I can fire one down too.
Well, truth be told, on nights where Tommy has his best rants, and you've almost been there tonight, he's usually all geeked up on that, maybe 3 or 4 cups. Ruggiano waits. Bailey's 2-1. It's down low, and it's 3-1. Remember, the at bat back in the first, Ruggiano on a full count was looking breaking ball, got a fastball and struck out and knew it. You just know he would love to have that pitch back, and maybe he'll get it here. 3-1. He got it, and it got in on him. Lutz comes in and makes the catch. And so Homer Bailey, 6 innings. There they go. Billy and the RF cam headed to Brickell.
you very much. With the caught stealing earlier, Rob Brantley really having a good season throwing. He's had some defensive issues, but not with his arm. So far this year as the Marlins catcher, he's nailed 6 out of 16 would-be base stealers. And he's done it with a very quick throw. And I asked him before the game tonight, is there anything he worked on? He said Mike Redmond really worked on linear, getting in a good line to throw to second. But he said, you know the real difference? Miguel Olivo. He said, when Olivo got here, he worked with me. He said, what about going a little lower in your stance as you make that throw? And what Brantley said is, being lower to the ground, his footwork much quicker. Foot doesn't have to come down as far. And he told me this before the game tonight, that this is him again, just saying hello and working with the catcher. That was been a key for him to get those quick throws as you see the basing up the middle to second base. Nice to see Miguel Olivo has been a good trooper here as the backup catcher. We'll see what's in store for him now with Mathis here, but really helping out Rob Brantley.
A couple of things to go along with that, Craig. Now with Jeff Mathis here, who has a tremendous reputation as a defensive catcher, he'll get some help from him. And then that goes along with the question. There were times where people would say, well, maybe Brantley would be better off if he were down in the minor leagues working on his game. But the best instruction he's going to get is right here with guys like Olivo, like Mathis, like Mike Redmond, like Rob Leary. They're all here.
Brandon Phillips takes a strike. Joey Votto with a base hit to open the 7th. Wade LeBlanc into inning number 2. Ricky Nolasco went the first 5, and the Reds got all 6 of their runs off Nolasco. Actually got them all in the first 2 innings. Kevin wants to know, Tommy, how many home runs did Lee Lacy hit for the '87 Orioles?
Look it up. Baseball Reference.
Now Nuno is specific. He wants Billy at Brickell Village.
Weren't we down at Brickell Village at the Tommy Bahama store?
We've been down on Brickell before. Here's the 1-1.
See, I don't remember. Right, I know he was there, but to me, Lee Lacy will always be a Dodger.
And not an Oriole.
Correct.
One and 2. Phillips just keeps fighting pitches off. In the air, and Ruggiano. So LeBlanc has an out in the 7th. If you're headed to the ball game tomorrow night, you can save up to 60% with the Chevron Crazy 8 ticket offer. Fill up in any participating Chevron, get $8 home run porch or $18 home plate box tickets. Visit your local Chevron or Marlins.com Chevron for details. Restrictions apply. Marlins and Reds tomorrow night. Mike Leake and Alex Sanabia.
Talking to Alex, remember he had to leave that game in San Diego with just a little strain in the groin, but he said it's been fine. and he's ready to go tomorrow night.
To center, and Ruggiano is there. So there are 2 outs. Around baseball tonight, games on the East Coast are closing in on being finished. A lot of games out on the West Coast. Phillies have a 4-2 lead over Cleveland, of all teams. There is your spot, the interleague series. At least one of them. The Padres are also in Baltimore, so this is one of those nights where you got more than one interleague game going.
Did you see last night, Rich, the Nationals are in L.A. against the Dodgers? The collision that Bryce Harper had against the right field wall?
It was Aaron Rowan-like. Remember when Rowan hit center field in Philly?
Yeah, he had, I think he required 11 stitches. He had to come out of the game.
Rowan, I believe, cut his nose, and Harper cut his neck. The area that he hit was the scoreboard at Dodger Stadium. That is and much like here with the scoreboard out in left center field, that's essentially a cyclone fence in front of a matrix board. So certainly it's not as padded as the other parts of the wall.
Be interesting to see, knowing the way Harper is, if he's in the lineup tonight. Yeah, it's hard to tell. There's that mesh fence in front of the scoreboard.
The block misses away. There's other interleague games going on. Toronto is hosting the Giants. The news out of that game, I believe, is that Bruce Bochy was going to present a World Series ring to Melky Cabrera.
And no, Bryce Harper is not in the lineup tonight. Steve Lombardozzi is playing left field.
Big swing and a miss by Todd Frazier. Frazier, the Little League World Series hero from Toms River. Was 3rd in the Rookie of the Year voting last year. 19 homers, 26 doubles in 128 games. And he swings and misses and strikes out, and he throws the bat down. Boy, the Reds are an angry bunch, even though they're up 6-1.
Marlins long, they came back to tie it. Juan Pierre gets himself a double and comes in to score on a nice swing and a base hit from Derek Dietrich. He has 2 hits tonight. Trouble came in the second inning for Ricky Nolasco. He just couldn't find the strike zone. He walks home 1 run, walks home another run, and then the big blast in the inning for the Reds. Xavier Paul with a bases clearing double. So all the damage for the Reds was done in the first 2 innings.
6-1, Cincinnati on top. And the Marlins once again having trouble scoring runs. Greg Dobbs leads it off. The Marlins come in last in the major leagues in runs per game, 2.84. Fly ball left field. Xavier Paul is there, and he makes the catch. It is an email and Twitter Tuesday if you'd like to join in the conversation. FoxSportsFlorida.com. Click on Game Connect or Ask the Broadcasts. That's the email version. If you just want to tweet, go at Fox Marlins.
See, now this tweet started off really good, and then it kind of ended on a sour note.
Echeverria drives it into right center field. To the wall it goes. Echeverria, who already has 3 triples, on his way to third. He's got his 4th.
I'll tell you what, when Danny Echeverria sends some line drives into right field and up the middle, he's a much better hitter. His 2 hits tonight have been in that direction. His single in the second inning went to right field. This ball, fastball out over the plate. He drives it the other way, and I think, Rich, all 4 of his triples have been to the other field, to right field. So he gets on his horse. He's going to get 3. He knows it right about here because he has the play in front of him. So good base running, good swing by Echeverria.
Echeverria now with 4, and that leads the National League. He was in a tie for first with Gene Segura, Everett Cabrera, E.Y. Jr., Carlos Gomez, and David Wright. Brantley takes up and in.
But the tweet starts out real good, Rich. It says, if I had one wish, it would be that you too, Rich and Tommy, would be the announcers of my heart. And then it goes on to say my lungs and my lower intestines too. So it started out good.
John Roush in the bullpen. An Echeverria triple with 1 out here in the 7th. Homer Bailey going strong at 85 pitches. Two and 1.
Now the Marlins had an opportunity in the 6th inning, runners at the corners, and Bailey was able to strike out Ozuna.
Dave wants to know, why is Batman pitching for the Reds? And I guess it's liner to right. Lutz makes the catch, tagging at third. Echeverria on his way in, and he is in there. Head first slide. Echeverria gets around the tag of Ryan Hannigan. And it's 6-2.
2 good ABs in a row now by Rob Brantley. Hit that ball well. Echeverria had to react, get back, tag up, and then react to the throw, and a perfect slide. I'm not a proponent of head first slides in the plate, but when he saw Hannigan move on to the first base side, he saw an opening, and the best way for him to get to that opening was with the head first slide. Great camera work, great base running.
Breaking ball, a strike. As Chris Coughlin gets the at bat, I think the tweeter feels that Homer Bailey has a resemblance to Christian Bale.
A little bit.
One of the many that has portrayed Batman. I don't think it was either Michael Keaton or Adam West or George Clooney, Val Kilmer. Add your Batman, your favorite Batman there. That's a pretty good call. Brantley gets a sac fly. Coughlin lost his bat and almost took Votto out with him. As Coughlin strikes out, Bailey finishes the inning. Miami has another run, but they're still down in this ball game to Homer Bailey. Matchup brought to you by Chevron. Mike Leake and Alex Sanabia. Sanabia pitched well against the Reds until the very end. That's the ball game in which Homer Bailey pitched. It was a 10-6 final, but Sanabia was solid, and then the wheels essentially fell off, and the bullpen couldn't bail him out.
Got to be careful too of Mike Leake. He's one of the better hitting pitchers in the National League.
Here's John Roush. Roush takes over here in the 8th. The Reds, as we noted, are hot. They've won 3 in a row and 7 of 9. They've crept within 2.5 games of the Cardinals in the Central. Your buddy SMB,
he's persistent.
He is. Well, all of a sudden he's letting loose with good tweets.
Now he's the nice guy.
If you had to pick right now, and you do, what teams will make this year's World Series?
Well, I think we've talked about it. Well, I know I really like, and I think you do too. So does a lot of other people. The Detroit Tigers, with the offense they can throw out there, with the pitching, which I think is great in postseason. The guys that, I mean, they can have an Anibal Sanchez start game 3, and he's been pitching tremendously.
You asked me, I think it was opening week, swing and a miss, to Donald Lutz, about we were debating Nationals versus Braves, and I went in on the Braves.
You did.
And I'm going to stick with the Braves. I'll go Braves. If you want to throw Tigers out there, you can throw Tigers out there.
And the Braves are playing great baseball. How about, speaking of the Nationals, they're just a game behind Atlanta. How about the Nationals ace? Who would have said here in May that Jordan Zimmerman would be 7-1 with a 1.69 ERA for Davey Johnson?
Brian McCann is back for the Braves and really swinging it well.
Yeah, he homered the other day. He's a perfect fit for when the Braves play those games in an American League city. The DH.
That one's driven to right and driven deep. Ozuna at the wall. He makes the catch right in front of Metro Ford. Just off I-95. So Donald Lutz The German right fielder is out number 1, and here comes Hannigan. Like, you know, he was born in New York, but he moved to Germany when he was 1. So. Bottom of the email bag, Nancy in Cutler Bay. Why is there one red solo seat behind home plate? I see it every time.
That's very observant.
Teams are up to hit. That was the first seat put into the ballpark. Hope things are well in Cutler Bay tonight. Tonight, John Roush is in, second out of the pen to work. Right behind his red helmet is a red seat.
Yeah, it's really to the left of home plate.
It's got a little baseball number.
It's
on
kind of over the Marlins dugout, so it's not directly behind home plate. I like the person who suggested the Twitter handle for Echeverria should be money zone. Right center. That's his money zone.
Keats points out the Marlins and Reds both have pitchers with bad pitcher names. Homer and Slowey. Into center field. Brian Hannigan with a couple of hits. What are other bad baseball names? Well, here you go. Bad pitcher names.
Grant Balfour. It's really Balfour. But
I don't remember Homer Ball, but he's an old timer.
Steve Junker. Eric Plunk. Yeah. Bob Walk. That was one we forgot the other day. Of course, we see Bob Walk, who is one of the Pirate broadcasters.
Hattie wants to know. I understand the high five, but why do players slap each other on the butt as congratulations? Now, Tommy, you're old school, and that's your era, right?
It's kind of a. It's just kind of a sports thing. I don't think you can just zero in on baseball. I mean, quarterbacks are doing that to centers the whole game.
Yeah, that's a good point. Probably a road we don't want to go down.
Probably not right now.
The FCC doesn't go to bed till 11. That one is popped up on a bunt, and it's foul. Dobbs picked it up, but it's a foul ball.
Good thing we didn't get that tweet on the West Coast.
Our Rocky Mountain crack staff chiming in with David Risky.
Good one.
As a pitcher's name.
Good one. Yeah, always tough coming in out of the bullpen with the last name of Risky.
Roush with a count 2-2. Homer Bailey and the Reds in the opener of this 3-game set. Two. Roush thinks about 2 and gets the out at first. As Oshin Soo Chu comes up. Here's the poll. It was a prospect night tonight on the show, and so all of the minor league names. Now, I think there's a decided advantage in that Jacksonville is in our viewing area, as well as Jupiter, but the Suns have terrific support up there in Jacksonville. The Zephyrs aren't getting much love. Final results on the postgame show. Shin-Soo Choo.
Well, we like the fact that Jacksonville's in our viewing area, and they also have the chance to go out and see Christian Yelich. They had the chance to see Derek Dietrich and Ozuna.
The Reds tonight showing why they're one of the hotter teams in the National League. If they can hold this lead, they will have won 8 of 10. Second walk for Chu. He's been hit as well, so that on-base percentage continues to go up. Toyota Trent. The Reds, as Tommy pointed out, very good at home. Great American ballpark. Not so good on the road.
I think Dusty would like to see that improve.
Little tapper. That's a fair ball. And Brantley picks it up, flips it to first in time. So Roush works a rather uneventful 8th inning. 6-2.
Twitter Tuesday, and Mike Dunn has started a pretty cool initiative. He's teamed up with the Little Warriors Project to host families here at the ballpark where one or both parents are serving or have served in the military. It was something he was inspired to do after spending some time with the soldiers in Wounded Warrior. Here's a tweet from Marlins Ayuda, and it said, Marlins pitcher Mike Dunn and the Little Warrior Project kicked off his new community program, All for One and Done for All. You can see the picture there from a mud run in which they wore the Mike Dunn t-shirts, the All for One and Done for All t-shirts that a lot of the Marlins themselves have been rocking, the camo with the baseball and the Little Warrior logo. And it's a really great project, something that he feels is so special. It incorporates both of his passions as people have served in the military and also kids. So every Monday, Dunn will host about 10 people here at the ballpark, kids, their parents, families that are in the military or have served. And it's really cool. About 10 people here every Monday get to come out to the ball game, take in the game. They get food included, parking, and all that. It's something that he just started this year with the help of the Marlins Community Foundation, but very excited about it. And just the positive influence it can have on these kids. That Little Warrior Project does so much for families and for kids, helps them out financially, has educational programs. Talked to him about it a little bit today, and he was really excited that it's kind of finally come to fruition here for him this year. Guys.
Yeah, it's a terrific initiative. Dunn is to be applauded. He's had a nice year this year as well on the field as well as off. Juan Pierre lines one into the seats. Time now for our Wendy's. Now that's better. May has been better for Juan Pierre. His on-base percentage over 400. Pierre doubled in the first, has popped out and bounced out tonight.
Juan Pierre hit a little over 300 on the road trip.
And he went around. He couldn't hold up. Tell you what, Homer Bailey's been impressive tonight. He's a guy that has had terrible run support, much like Ricky Nolasco. And he's in line for win number 2.
Well, he still has some really good life on that fastball. Big Jonathan Broxton starting to get loose. But yeah, Bailey's one of those guys. I know I've used it in the scouting report in the past on Bailey, but he looks like he's playing catch, and then the ball just explodes.
Terry tweets, best baseball pitcher name, Josh Outman. I think Mike Fiers is pretty good. A.J. Ramos in Miami's bullpen. Little pop up and lots approaches and makes the catch.
Boy, the other trend that you mentioned early in the game, Rich, that I don't like now is the fact that the Marlins haven't won a game with the roof open.
Now Derek Dietrich for the Marlins. If you're looking for positives tonight, Dietrich with 2 hits, Echeverria with 2 hits.
How about this for an observation on Derek Dietrich? He has confident takes. Now, that was a strike. He takes a pitch just a little bit out of the zone. He appears very confident up at the plate.
Well, he certainly doesn't seem overmatched. And as we've seen with Ozuna, there is a period of after about 2 weeks where a rookie gets pitched to differently. Once video gets around, once advanced scouting reports get around. And I think Dietrich, he takes a called third strike from Bailey. Homer Bailey's been outstanding tonight for Cincinnati. A 27-year-old out of LaGrange, Texas. Reds up 6-2. And the ninth inning rolls around. MLB.TV is celebrating 11 years. You can join millions of fans and subscribe today. Watch every out-of-market game live online on your favorite mobile and connected device in HD quality with MLB.TV Premium. Visit MLB.TV today. MLB.TV, baseball everywhere. Here tonight, the Reds doing what the Reds do best, and that's get on base and get those runs in. A couple of bases loaded walks in the second, given up by Ricky Nolasco, fueled a 5-run second. And Cincinnati in charge with an inning to go. 14,694 attendance tonight.
This is a part of the lineup that Ramos is going to have to face that's done all the damage tonight. The Reds' 3, 4, 5 hitters are 5 for 10 with 6 RBIs.
Kevin has been creative all night. Wants to know, Tommy, if A.J. Ramos has a 1-2-3 inning, will you sing a rendition of "You've Got a Friend in Me" from Toy Story in Spanish? See, that would be a Cookie and Raul question. Of course, "You've Got a Friend in Me," that's Woody and Buzz, and it's a Randy Newman tune.
Yeah, I would need. Yeah, we heard a little Randy Newman in L.A. every night.
It does. You know, the Marlins, when they lost a game in L.A., they cranked it up. That the official L.A. anthem. Up the middle and off the glove of Echeverria. And Votto has his 3rd hit of the night. So Joey Votto is barreled up 3 balls. He also has that bases loaded walk. You got Brandon Phillips and Xavier Paul coming up.
And I won't have to sing a rendition of "You've Got a Friend in Me" in Spanish.
I think there's an app for that if you wanted to do that into your phone. All right, you can catch Marlins Live, presented by Checkers, out in center field. They have more stuff. They have more stuff out there in center than is in the actual broadcast locale here.
I think Craig has a microwave out there.
Sharp grounder. Polanco got one there. Dietrich, quick turn and a strong arm. And Miami turns the double play.
It's a good question now coming up. If Ramos were to retire the next hitter, is that considered a 1-2-3 inning?
No. No, I think you lose the 1 when you get a single. So you're okay.
But a nice double play turned. And you're right. I think we see when we see Dietrich make the throw on the pivot, we see his shortstop arm.
Right, which is, you know, as we talked about, his ability to play third base is attractive to the Marlins as well. Many requests for camera 12 tonight. Brad has led that charge.
I thought camera 12 was over at Brickell right now.
Well, we saw them leaving in a car. I think they went out of range. One. Ramos gets a strike, and it's 1-2. On a hop, Dietrich fires to first, and Xavier Paul is retired. No, they're coming back. There we go. the bottom of the ninth. Marcell Ozuna coming to the plate. Remember Ozuna's great throw in L.A. This another look back. Our AT&T Uverse rewinds. That's Carl Crawford. That ball's fairly deep in right field, and that was a laser throw to get a very surprised Carl Crawford. Derek Robinson, pride of Gainesville, in the ballgame and in right field.
Yeah, P.K. Young High School up in Gainesville.
Homer Bailey trying to finish what he has started here. He's not completed a game this year. And in the ninth, he bends one into Ozuna for a strike.
Well, he had a couple of complete games last year. One of those we talked about earlier, a no-hitter. I think we've seen a lot of pitchers, and this will, be the continued adjustment period for Ozuna. They'll go breaking ball away, and then when they try to go fastball to him, they try to run it in on his hands.
That one really ran to the corner, and it's 2-2. Bailey was terrific in the postseason. Of course, it was a very short postseason for the Reds last year. They were beaten, of course, in that wild comeback by the Giants in the division series. The Reds had a 2-0 lead, and in Game 3, they put Bailey out there to start. And he pitched well, 7 innings, 10 strikeouts. The problem was, it just shows you how close the Giants were to getting eliminated. The Giants hung in there and got to extra innings and won the ball game 2-1. And then, of course, Bailey had the no-hitter on the 28th of September when he no-hit Pittsburgh. And it had been a while since the Reds had a no-hitter. In fact, Tom Browning's perfect game back in '88 was the last time they had one.
Yeah, Big Jim Mahoney pitched a couple of no-hitters for the Reds. Tom Seaver pitched his only no-hitter as a Red.
3-2 coming to Ozuna. Drives it to right. That ball's got a little carry on it. And Lutz goes back and makes the catch.
Tough night for Ozuna, but the second time he's driven a ball well the other way to right field.
Here's Ruggiano now. Mike Redmond trying to shake things up. Inserting 2 rookies. I mean, really rookies. Guys that Dietrich, who just arrived a few days ago to the big leagues. And Ozuna.
Miguel Olivo, by the way, coming in from the bullpen to grab a bat.
Redmond hitting Dietrich third, Ozuna fourth. Ruggiano an 0 for 3. At the knees, a ball and a strike. Yeah, the word on Bryce Harper tonight is that he was feeling nauseous before the ball game, and as a precaution, the Nationals kept him out. Zach Greinke going to start tomorrow night for the Dodgers.
Dodgers were talking about that decision after just the one rehab start. There are some who feel it might be a little too soon for him to come back, but I imagine the Dodgers know best.
The Melky Cabrera ring presentation was done in private. Of course, Cabrera was suspended for performance-enhancing drugs midway through last year, his all-star season with the Giants. Giants are in Toronto tonight.
10th strikeout for Homer Bailey. He's been terrific tonight. The fastball's been 95 to 98 with some splits, with a good breaking ball.
Padres on the road beat Baltimore 3-2. Baltimore still a lofty 23-16.
And there was no Lee Lacy sighting in Baltimore.
I think there might have been an Elrod Hendricks sighting, though. Dobbs, and he takes outside.
There was a Rick Ankiel sighting with the Mets, though, last night. Rick Ankiel signing with the Mets. And played last night in center field.
You really root for a guy like Ankiel. Hope that he can get it back together and stick in the big leagues. The Cardinals are clobbering the Mets 9-2 tonight.
Yeah, it was comfortable for Ankiel because joining the Mets, he joined them in St. Louis.
One and two to Dobbs. It's been the Homer Bailey show tonight. In control, impressive. His 119th pitch coming. His pitching coach Brian Price has to be very proud. Price, one of the really bright minds in the game. Dobbs shoots another one foul. Sanabia and Mike Leake tomorrow night. As we told you, Jose Fernandez and Matt Latos to finish the series on Thursday.
Tremendous matchup Thursday night. Make plans for that. That's a good matchup. I'm sure Matt Latos will have a lot of friends and family in attendance.
Dusty Baker hoping that his starter can finish. He's a strike away. Dobbs has fought off a couple.
Still impressive from Bailey. That fastball at 96. He's throwing 122 pitches.
Leo wants to know how come the Miguel Olivo Justin Morneau collision video doesn't exist anywhere on the internet. I actually was talking with Mike Redmond about that today. Not about that it's not on the internet, but the fact that Redmond was a member of the Twins when that happened. So he saw it up close and personal. Morneau trying to score from second. Olivo blocked the plate. There was a collision. Olivo stayed on his feet. Morneau went down with a collapsed lung. Went to the hospital that night. Two. Almost got him.
You have a thought if Dusty Baker, when he sent Bailey out there for this ninth inning, if he said, you know what, you get the 3 hitters, get 3 outs, all well and good, but if you don't get 3 hitters, might have to go to the bullpen. He does have his bullpen ready.
Yeah, 124 pitches. The Cuban Missile is ready. Aroldis Chapman. That's going to end up in the glove of Zach Cozart, and Bailey finishes. A complete game, 6-2 win. He and Ryan Hannigan, his catcher embrace. And the Reds stay hot, 4 in a row for Cincinnati. They have won 8 of their last 10. And thus the 3-game series opens with a Reds win.